All right, agent investors, welcome. I am excited today. Today is actually probably the most important session that I'll ever teach on, that I'll ever train on. It is the thing that I'm the best at. It's the thing that I'm the most excited to talk about. It's the thing that my entire business has been built around finding discounted off market deals. Um, it's something when agents say to me, "Hey, I'll get started in investing when I've got more money." I say, "Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second. I had no money to get started. All it takes is one discounted off market deal. All it takes is one discounted off market deal, and in my case, to make $115,000 to launch my entire investing career." So we've got a lot to discuss today. But before we do, we've got two types of listeners that are here right now. We've got the people that are live in our Agent Investor Facebook group, and then we've got people that are listening after the fact on the Agent Investor podcast. For those of you who are listening live, the Agent Investor podcast is released once a week. If you have not listened to the podcast, we interview agents at least twice a month who talk about their investment stories and how they became successful as investors. And you guys who are live, you can listen to me, you can hear my story, but I think it's almost more impactful to hear a story from somebody else and a variety of different people. Because some of you who are on the line right now connect a lot with me. You know my story, you know my background. Some of you won't. Some of the stuff that I say, my style, it may not resonate with you. So make sure that you're listening to how other agents have added investing to their arsenal and achieved financial freedom. Because at the end of the day, right, guys, that's what we're all after. We're all after financial freedom. So if you're not tuned in or you haven't downloaded the Agent Investor podcast, you can go direct to www.agentinvestorpodcast.com and just make sure that you download it. And if you listen and you get value out of it, please leave a review. Give me a 5-star review. It'll change the algorithm. It'll reach more agents and we'll get more reach and more agents will learn how to invest, which is essentially the key goal for this entire group. Now, we've got other people that are listening to this after the fact on the podcast because I'm going to chop up some of these live streams, put them on the podcast. But if you're a podcast listener, I just want you to be aware that not every live stream is going to get chopped up. So if you are a podcast listener, but you're not in our Facebook group, please make sure you're in our Facebook group so you can catch all of the live streams that are going to be in the Agent Investor Facebook group by going to www.agentinvestor.com. And so the other thing too is the podcast is going to be a variety now of interviews with top agents who have adding investing to their arsenal and these live streams and stuff that I'm delivering directly. So again, make sure that you're in both so you can get the benefits of both. Again, the focus today is going to be finding discounting off market deals. Before I get into discounting off market deals, I just wanted to let you guys know about the official 2-day event that we have coming up November 3rd and November 4th. It's going to be Thursday and Friday. It's going to be somewhere in the greater Boston area. Now, one thing I want to say to you guys about attending events is that all of my absolute biggest aha moments, all of my biggest changes that have happened in my business have come from attending live events. There is nothing like going to a 2-day event that is focused 100% on what you need to learn about and getting around other individuals who are doing the same thing that either you want to be doing or that you're already doing. I go to at least 3 or 4 multiple day events per year. I've got one coming up actually in Miami, Florida, for myself on raising capital. And I do these because I know that, I got 4 kids. I have a couple businesses that I run. Being able to get away and just focus specifically on what you need to be learning about to take your real estate investing business to the next level is very important. So I know that committing to 2 days, November 3rd and November 4th, are a lot, But bear in mind that you will not get the same value by just kind of listening to a live stream once in a while, listening to a podcast once in a while. So on November 3rd and November 4th, we plan to have about 200 people there. It'll be 2 days. I'll be doing some solo sessions, and we're also going to be having panels of agents that have invested in real estate and a couple other things. Um, at our events, if you haven't been to any of our events before, we run them a little bit differently than how other people run their events. Most people run their events and it's just kind of a talking head like myself, just getting up there, talking about how to do something or a specific topic, and you end up kind of leaving these events not necessarily knowing what to do next. And I always hated that. I always hated having 200 to dos, but not knowing which ones are the most important. So, one of the things that I do at my events that's a little bit different is we make sure that every single attendee leaves with the top 4 to 6 things that they need to get done for the next quarter to move their investing business to the next level. Now, that's different for every person, right? Because all of you are at different points in your investing career. So we make sure that you leave knowing, okay, great, I got a lot of good content out of this event, but I know what I need to do next. So we're going to be having panels, we're going to be having myself speaking on various topics and all the stuff that we need to always get better at. Finding deals, raising capital, managing properties, managing contractors, and we're going to have a lot more information to release coming up. We're also going to be doing a property tour at an 88 unit apartment building that we are currently renovating. It's a mill building, and we're going to talk about how you guys can all get into apartment deals, even if you don't have a ton of money. And actually, the person that we're partnering on that 88 unit with brought the deal to us, and they're putting in very little capital. We're the ones putting up most of the capital, and we're going to teach you guys how you can do the same at the event. We're also going to be doing a dinner for the inner circle members. So we'll talk more later on this live stream about the inner circle, but a free dinner with myself and my partners. There will be lunch both days that's included. And the one cool thing that we're going to be doing for this event that's going to be different than the last event that we did is we're going to be giving away a 2-person all-inclusive paid trip to Aruba, and it's going to be a little fun contest. It's called the Bring a Friend contest. We believe so much that agents should invest in real estate that every person that you bring that has never attended an agent investor event, every person that comes that you invite that has never attended one of our events, you're going to get entered into a drawing, and one person is going to win the grand prize of the 2-person all-inclusive trip to Aruba. So, guys, if you want to register for this event, this 2-day event, I'm going to give you for a limited time free ability to register for free. We are going to be charging for this event probably somewhere between $200 and $300, but right now you can register for free until we get everything set up by going to www.agentinvestorevent.com. www.agentinvestorevent.com. It'll pull up a really simple jot form. You put in your name, email, phone number, and then if you're going to bring a friend, bring the friend and you'll get entered into that Aruba drawing. So guys, I definitely don't want to spend too much time on the promotional stuff because I want to make sure that you guys all get value. I want you guys right now, just so I make sure that I cover what you guys need, please do me a favor and type in the comment section what specifically you joined this live stream today to learn about. If it's something related to finding off market properties, that's great. That's definitely the topic for today. But if it's something else, please do me a favor right now and type into the comment section a question or a topic that you want to make sure that I cover. And I will make sure I'm not going to leave this seat right now until I have covered 100% of everything that all of you want to learn about. I've got an hour blocked off, but I can go longer if we need to. So, one thing that I've been doing in the Agent Investor Facebook group is I've been reaching out to some of the members that have been commenting and asking for help and more information. And I actually did a call with somebody, a top agent that had a really good story and a really good why. Like, why are they actually wanting to invest? And I called her, top producing agent, does really well. And I said, okay, like, first things first, let's talk about your goals. Like, why do you want to invest in real estate to start? And she said, well, my husband, who's my age, I just turned 40 last week, um, is a blue collar worker. And I want to make sure he's been a blue collar worker since he's been, I don't know if she said 18 or 20, like really young. And she said to me, she said, I want to make sure that he doesn't have to be a blue collar worker for the rest of his life. Because, as I can attest to, not that old, but you get a little older and the blue collar stuff starts to become a little bit harder. Not that I would necessarily know because I've only done white collar work, but I can only imagine. I've been fortunate to do the white collar side of my business. But she said, I want to get him out of doing the blue collar work. And I said, okay, great. So that's great. So everything that we want to achieve in our investing career, it boils down to how much money do we need? So everybody, when I ask them, like, what are your goals? There's always the outcome that we want. The outcome that we want is why we joined this live stream, why we picked up that real estate investing book, why we would commit to going to a 2-day event, why we would pay a coach, why we would do any of this. It's for an outcome. Her outcome was, I want to make sure he doesn't have to work. Now, every outcome has a number attached to it. Every outcome, it doesn't matter what outcome it is. Some outcomes have a very small number attached, some have a big number. So I said, well, what's the number that it would take for him to not have to do the blue collar job anymore? And she said $100,000 a year. And I said, awesome. That's one of the first and honestly one of the hardest steps that most people struggle with is like, what is that number that it takes to get from point A to point B? And so then we looked and we said, okay, I don't want to go too much into her situation, but like one of the biggest issues there is limited capital. And it's an issue that we all have. And this is going to tie back to the off market, getting the off market discounted deals. We all have limited capital to some extent. I don't care how successful you are, real estate is expensive. I don't care if you have $1 million in the bank. That doesn't mean you have all the capital that you need. In fact, you're not even close to having the capital you need if you have $1 million liquid in the bank. So almost everybody I talk to, whether they have $1,000 in the bank or $1 million in the bank, capital is an issue, right? It might be less of an issue in the early stages for the person that's got $1 million in the bank, but it's still an issue. So I said to her, and this is the mindset shift. All of you agents, I want to like punch this through the screen. This is the mindset shift that you need to have. It's so important. Every agent comes across opportunities on a yearly basis they don't take advantage of because they don't have the mindset of an investor. So I said to her, I said, how many deals, and it could be zero, but how many deals in a year do you come across where you said, oh, like I could have bought that property or I could have taken advantage of it and it was off market? And she sat there for a second and she goes, well, this year it was like two, and I think the year before it was one. And she said, conservatively, probably two deals a year. And I said, okay, great. So you went into somebody's living room. They wanted to sell their house. It was a property that could be flipped or wholesaled or bought as a rental property. And what did you do with it? And she said, well, I listed it. And again, this is again the mindset shift that I could push through this screen right now that you have to have. When you have an opportunity in front of you like that, you've got to capitalize on it. In order to capitalize on it, you need to know what to do. You need to have the procedures in place, the mindset in place, and you need to be around other investors, which is why we created the inner circle. Like you've got to get around other people doing this. So I told her a story about two agents in my office, probably about 6 months ago. They called me on the phone. They said, we had an appointment with a seller. It was a family friend's mom who passed away. House needs a ton of work. We put the property under contract to buy, but we would rather partner with somebody. Would you have any interest in partnering with us? So I took a look at the numbers. I ran the numbers. I looked at the deal, and I was like, hell yeah, I want to partner on that deal. Because at the time, the numbers showed that flip would make about $100,000 total. And so the people that brought me the deal that are at my brokerage who knew these strategies because they were around us, we partnered on the deal, right? And that's an example of when somebody doesn't need any capital, right? If somebody has a great deal, if you can find great off-market opportunities, someone may be willing to partner with you. And when I say may, I mean most likely they will. So long story short, we buy this property, my team renovates this property. This deal ends up making close to $300,000. And that is not an exaggeration. One of our biggest flip properties to date, $300,000. Each side of that 50-50 split made over six figures, close to $150,000 per side. Now, this person that came to me, this agent who basically said, like, yeah, I get opportunities that come in front of me from time to time, but I don't take advantage of them because I don't have capital. Well, I just explained to you all how you could do a deal with no money. Now, for those of you who are listening and are skeptical, do me a favor. Just type skeptical into the comment section. I am curious to see how many of you are skeptical of what I just said. Now, the funny thing is about that is that so many investors would partner on a deal with an agent. Like most would, right? We're in an environment right now where deals are really scarce. It's hard to find great deals. Most investors are struggling to find a deal. If an agent comes up to that investor, and we are one of those examples of an investor, but it doesn't have to be us. I'd like it to be us, but it doesn't have to be us. If it's a killer deal, someone is going to be willing to partner on that deal with you. Now, let me tell you guys one more story because again, you may be skeptical or think that this stuff doesn't really happen, but that 88 unit building that I hope all of you are going to see in person November 3rd and November 4th, we're going to take you all on a bus ride over to that. That deal was brought to us by an agent at our office as well. And they came to us and they said, hey, I got this great mill building under agreement. Would you have any interest in partnering? And what does that mean, interest in partnering? That typically means like, I want you to put up the money. Because if they had the money, then why would they need us, right? So yes, we can do the construction, but a lot of people can do the construction. So this is a 88 unit mill building that will be part of a legacy portfolio, not just for us, but for the agent who brought it to us, okay? We're partnering with them on it, right? We're bringing capital, we're bringing construction expertise, but they brought the deal. Deals are scarce, and that's why you need to learn how to find them off market, okay? Now, off market is the key word, okay? My mentor used to call the MLS, which all of us agents, myself included, affectionately call the multiple listing service. He used to call it the multiple losing service. Now, why did he call it the multiple losing service? The reason he called it the multiple losing service is because once a property gets to the multiple losing service, it's really hard to get a good deal. Now, I know because you're all agents most of you are agents on this live stream right now. You know that once the property hits the MLS, everybody and their mother sees it, which creates competition, which when we're going and we're talking to a seller and we're pitching them on why to use us, one of the pitches is always, we're going to get you the most amount of people, the most amount of exposure, which we can get in multiple different ways. Okay, one of them is the multiple listing service. The problem for discounted off-market deals is that works in the reverse when it hits the MLS. So that deal that I just told you about, that couple people in my office split with us, where there was a $300,000 profit, you would not have gotten that on the MLS. No way. 100% guaranteed. No way. Okay? That deal, that 88 unit mill building that we're doing, and we're partnering with another agent in our office. No way would you get that on the MLS. No effing way on the MLS. Okay? So, couple of epiphanies here. Number one, you don't need money. You don't. You do not need a dollar. How do I know? I had no money to start. I had $0. I had $6,000 in my bank account. Okay. So most likely, most of you probably have more money in your bank account than I did when I started. My parents had no money, I had no resources, but I did find how to get deals. And my first deal, two family in Somerville, we made $115,000 on that deal. This is big chunks. Another epiphany all of you agents need to get through your head. Yes, you can make money as an agent. You can make a living as an agent, but you won't get wealthy as an agent because as an agent, you're doing deals $8,000 commission, $10,000 commission, $12,000 commission, $6,000 commission. Then you do an investment deal. Oh, it's 100,000. It's 10 of those deals. It's 8 of those deals. The portfolio, the 88 unit portfolio, okay? The cash flow that's going to be made on that building per year is going to be in the $300,000 per year range. One building, right? Then the agent brought to us that we're partnering on. So just know you don't need money. You do need to be smart. And by smart, I mean educated, right? And you need to be around other people who are doing these things, okay? So when you're an agent, you come across opportunities all the time. And this is the first part about finding discounted off market deals that I want to talk to you guys about, which is that you come across them even without trying. So I used to have a coaching program for investors that were not agents. And investors that are not agents have a lot less advantages than you investors who are agents. If you're an agent, you may meet with a seller, you may meet with a landowner, you may hear about a deal in your office just by sitting there and doing nothing. Like you may not even be trying to get an off market deal and you may get one. Okay? That doesn't happen with regular investors. So you all kind of have an advantage. By the way, do me a favor because lights and hearts make this show up in more people's feed. So can you all do me a favor? If you like what I have to say right now, which is completely free to you, free content, please like and heart this right now. Because I'm at 69 people right now live. I would love to get this up to like 70 or 75 or 80 people. And the more that you guys like and comment, and if you can just comment in the comment section, love it or like it, it'll help me out and it'll get this into more people's feeds. So I appreciate that. So we talked about like why we need off market, but I want to talk just a little bit more on that topic just so you all kind of understand. You're an agent, you may come across these off market deals by not doing a whole lot of stuff outside of what you normally do. When you get a discounted off market deal, you can make money in two ways every single time. The first is that you can quick turn it. So we talked about that example where the person in my office brought us a deal. We made $300,000 and we split that deal. So if you come across a seller who wants to sell, their house needs work, they want to sell for cash, they don't want to go through inspections, they don't want to have contingencies, you can do a quick turn. Quick turns are big hits of income. Now that can be partnering with somebody, that can be assigning a contract, that could be wholesaling a deal. Another thing that I see agents do, which is really smart, is if they get a deal, they take a commission up front from the seller and then they get a listing on the back end. Okay, so these are all kind of strategies that we can implement to make sure that we're maximizing these off-market deals. The other way that we can make money on an off-market deal is a buy and hold. And I want to talk to you guys about why it's so important to get a discounted buy and hold deal versus buying something on the multiple listing service or the multiple losing service. So let's run some quick fictitious numbers that are kind of real just so you guys can get an understanding. So we all have limited capital. Keep that in mind. Every one of us on here has limited capital. Some of us have more than others, but we all have money's a limited resource. It's a finite resource. So let's say in my market, and I'm in Boston, I know we've got some people in different parts of the country on here. Three family in Boston, say it's $1 million. Now, say you buy it on the multiple listing service for $1 million, because if it's worth $1 million, you're going to pay $1 million on the MLS. Okay. Say you buy that property, you put 20% down. You have to put 20 grand down on that property, and then you owe $800,000. You buy that three family in Boston, you get it rented, you add a little value. A year later, you go back to the bank. What is that property going to be worth? Well, in the market right now, which is kind of like stagnating, right, as we're sitting here today, August 2022, and the market's flattening right now. You go back to the bank in a year, that property is still probably worth $1 million. Maybe it's 950, maybe it's $1,050,000, maybe it's 1.1. So you go back to that bank and you say, hey, I've owned this property for a year. I want to do a cash out refi. You are not going to be able to do it because you don't have enough equity. What that means is that if you buy one multifamily in Greater Boston and you put down $200,000, which is a lot of money, you're probably not getting that money back out of that property for 3, 4, 5 years. Okay? Fictitious example, but probably real in today's market. Now, let's get that property off market and see how that changes things. Say that $1 million property, that $1 million 3-family in Boston, you buy it off market from a seller for $800,000. Now, you're still going to have to put down $200,000 or whatever the number becomes. So now you owe $600,000 on that property. You do a little bit of work. You come back to the bank a year later. You say, hey, I want to do a cash out refi. The bank's going to say, oh, okay. Property is still worth about $1 million because the market's flat. Okay, what do you owe? $600,000? We're going to do a cash out refi at 80 LTV. Okay, now you can pull out $200,000. You buy that property off market, you just got your entire down payment back that you can use again to buy another off market property. Do you guys see here? Does that make sense? Do me a favor and type into the comment section because I want to make sure that concept there of being able to buy a property discounted, put a little bit of money into it, get it fully tenanted, and refinancing to get all your money back out. Do me a favor and type into the comment section whether or not that makes sense. I just want to know for sure that this makes sense to you guys because this is like the pillar of getting properties off market. All right, we get a lot of makes sense. Please, please, please. If it doesn't make sense, tell me because I can go into more detail on that. It's a simple concept, but if you forget about this concept, everything you do is going to be wrong. You have no idea how many agents come to me on a week-to-week basis, and they want to talk about on MLS deals, on market. And it makes me angry. I'm not going to lie. It actually makes me angry because it's a complete waste of time for me. It's a complete waste of time for them. And they try to sell me on the deals on the MLS. Try to sell it to me. Well, this one is different because of XYZ. No, it's not. It's not different. The only thing that's different is that you're not listening. The only thing that's different is you are not learning how to get deals off market and you refuse to do it. So you got to do it. I'll can't yell this enough. You've got to get deals off market. So all of these things are why we need to get deals off market, right? This stuff is game changing, right? Totally game changing. And investing in real estate is game changing. I went out to dinner. Diana, my wife, threw a surprise 40th birthday party for me the other night. Show up. All my friends from growing up are there. And one of my close friends, who's not a hard worker at all, I've probably worked triple the hours that he's worked in his life. Sat down next to him. He goes, I just got some pretty good news. And I'm like, okay, what? And he's like, oh, my dad just sold his building in South Boston for $5 million. And he's going to pay my mortgage for the rest of my life. And I'm like, I love you. But what a 40th birthday present to get to know your dad at 40 years old is going to pay your mortgage for the rest of your life. And I say that in a joking way because his dad was a small business owner, didn't do anything crazy, bought a building in an area in Boston that went way up in value. And now, so I forgot to mention, he's paying all of his kids' mortgages. He's got 3 kids, 3 mortgages that he's paying for the rest of their life. And the only reason, by the way, he's not paying off the mortgages is because he's a hard money lender now, and he makes more money lending out the money. So he doesn't want to pay down a 3 to 4% interest rate. Hey everyone, this is Tom Caffarella. I want to quickly interrupt the podcast to number 1, thank all of my loyal listeners of the Agent Investor podcast and tell you guys really quickly about an exciting event we have coming up.
It's a 2-day event. It's called the Passive Income Real Estate Investor Event that you can find out more details at passiveincomeevent.com. We're going to be doing a 2-day training session teaching all of the agents and all of the investors at the event on how to achieve financial freedom through real estate. If you're like me and your goal is to not work 80, 100 hours a week grinding, selling real estate, flipping homes, definitely check out this event. We're going to teach you how to build a passive income portfolio so that you can retire, so that you can work when you want, how you want, and ultimately achieve financial freedom. So again, go to passiveincomeevent.com for more details, and we look forward to seeing you at the upcoming event.
Now that we know why we need off market, now that we know that if you come to me with an on market deal, I'm going to get my blood pressure is going to go through the roof. And I'm 40 now, so it's not good. I could be at health risk if you guys bring me an on MLS deal, so don't do it. We're going to talk about the strategies because we got to know how to do it, right? So there's two ways to get off market deals: free and paid. And which you choose depends on your financial position, depends on what your goals are, depends on a lot of different things. This is the type of stuff, like the actual specific strategy on what you should do is stuff we talk about at the 2-day event and stuff that we do in the inner circle when I talk to people on a daily and weekly basis through Facebook Messenger and through email. I'll talk more about that after. But free off market versus paid off market. Let's talk about free off market. My God, you agents are so spoiled. You have so many advantages to free off market. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I have a friend out in San Diego, California. I call him a friend. He's in my networking group. He's in a paid mastermind group that I pay $30,000 a year to be in. And his name's Phil Green out in San Diego. He runs a company called GG Homes. And I said, Phil, how do you get all your deals? Because this is the type of stuff that we talk about in the mastermind. He goes, by the way, I had just presented and told people I spend $3 to $4 million a year on marketing. And he's like, oh, yeah, I don't spend any money on marketing. I go, what? Because he's doing, big volume, 100 plus off market deals a year. And I said to him, how do you do it? And he said, oh, I have an agent referral group. I have an agent referral plan. And I have a relationship manager that just manages relationships with top agents in the area. And I just let them know, hey, like if you ever come across a beat up property, a piece of land, anything that would be an investor deal, call me. And he has a really sophisticated, well, I shouldn't say sophisticated, it's a well thought out game plan on how to make sure he's always top of mind with other agents that come across these off market opportunities. So he does cool things. I talked about the Aruba giveaway for the 2-day event that we have coming up. He does stuff like that. He wines and dines agents, but it's for minimal money. So you're an agent, for free, you come across deals. So at every seller appointment that you go on is an opportunity to get an off-market deal. Now, does it make sense for every seller that you meet with to sell to an investor? No. Only about 5% of all sellers want to sell to an investor. There are many benefits to selling to an investor: cash, no contingencies, closing your own time frame, leave the junk in your house, etc. And this is not a live stream about the benefits of selling to an investor. It's just to raise your awareness that you as an agent go into sellers' living rooms every year, every few months, or every month, or some of you every week. Those can be off market deals. Okay. That's completely free. You all belong to offices. Some of you belong to big ones, some of you belong to small ones. But in your office, there are a lot of agents that come across these deals. So if you're coming across, say that you meet with 5 to 20 sellers in a year, there's also a lot of other agents in your office that come across these type of sellers. Do the agents in your office know that you're an investor? Does anybody know that you're an investor? I asked this question to a couple people I did a call with this week. I go, so you want to raise capital to do deals and you want to do investment deals. You have a sphere of influence. You have a few hundred people in your database. How many of them know you're an investor? They said, oh, maybe like one or two. So let me ask all of you who are agents, if only one or two people knew that you sold houses, how many retail sales would you do in a year? And the answer would be almost none. But yet, many of you don't let anybody know that you're an investor and don't know why you can't find off market opportunities. Okay. So, everybody in your SOI should know that you're also an investor. By the way, that's going to get you more deals, period. Because some of the people in your SOI are investors. Some of the people in your SOI want to work with agents who understand investing. And in fact, many agents have an entire business built around serving investors. Investors buy multiple houses per year, right? So let people know. And you can do that through your email marketing. You can do that on your social media. And you don't have to always be asking for business like every other strategy to get clients. It's awareness, right? So if you're working on a deal, we actually had somebody in our office just shoot a video in front of a 19 unit apartment building that we did. And he said, well, what should I say? Should I say like it's your deal? And I'm like, my deal? Why do you want to promote me? Promote yourself. Go in, hey, this is a deal I'm working on, right? This is something that I'm a part of. This is something my company's a part of. But don't mention me, mention that you're a part of it. And hey, anybody who's interested in investing in apartment buildings, reach out to me because I know what to do because I'm at a company that teaches on this stuff and trains on this stuff and mentors on this stuff. So you can do all this stuff for free. Now, you agents are also spoiled in another way. Not only do you have people in your office that you can talk to that you're an investor, hey, if you come across an off market opportunity, talk to me. You also co broke with a lot of people. Every time you co broke, that's an opportunity to tell another agent that you're an investor. Hey, XYZ agent, this probably doesn't come up all the time for you. But I'm sure that once in a while you run across a flip deal or an apartment deal or a buy and hold deal that you're thinking about listing, and maybe your client, you know, doesn't want to go through a traditional listing process. I've got this program where you get paid up front and the listing on the back end if you refer a deal to me. Can you just keep me in mind in case anything like that ever happens again? So those are co-brokes, right? Priming your SOI, I already talked about that. So those are all like a lot of agents can do one, two, three, four, 5 deals a year investing, just telling people that they know that's in their circle and other agents about what they're doing. By the way, it's not just limited to agents. Are you telling your attorneys? Are you telling your mortgage brokers? Who are you telling? Who's in your circle? Are you telling your contractors? Right? Are you telling the people that do the junk outs for you? Right? People who do junk outs come across sellers all the time. So does everybody in your SOI that you come in contact with know you're an investor? If not, that's a completely free way to get deals. Then you get the deal and you don't have to have the money to do it. You can partner with somebody like me. You can partner with somebody else. You can assign a deal. You can wholesale a deal. So many different ways to make money on these deals without you having to have money. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about other methods that you can do. So I would always say to everybody who's on this call right now, if you haven't done any of the stuff that I just talked about that's free and completely easy to do, I would start there because it's not going to cost you anything. It's barely going to take you any time. Now, if you want to get more aggressive in a good way, not aggressive in a negative way, aggressive like I want to do more deals faster, I want to kind of force deals, I would think about doing some of the free prospecting methods like door knocking, like calling, like anything that you can do to get in front of sellers that might be selling a property that makes sense for you to buy. Okay. Now, again, I don't have time to go into a whole door knocking class or how to call or how to pull numbers or how to do any of that stuff. And this is the stuff, just keep in mind that if you're in the inner circle, this is the type of stuff that we can talk about on a daily basis because it's great you're listening right now. and I know I'm delivering a lot of good information, and I know it's useful information. But to implement it, you're going to have to go out and start doing stuff. When you start doing, you have questions, and that's what the inner circle is for. Hey, I just deciding I'm going to do a door knocking campaign. What door hangers are you using? What houses do you determine? Whatever the questions are, that's what the inner circle is for. Okay. So we talked about free ways on how to do it. Now, again, I'm going to check the comment section. Um, what questions do you guys have right now on any of the stuff that I just covered? Because if not, then I'm going to start talking about paid marketing. So type your questions into the comment section. I'll cover anything that's in the comment section. If not, I'm going to switch gears to paid marketing. All right. I don't see anything, but if I do, I will go back. Let's talk about paid. Benefits of paid. You just click a button, you get leads, you get opportunities. My company is on pace to spend close to $4 million this year on paid marketing. What is paid marketing? It's things like pay-per-click, Facebook, TV, mailers, etc. Okay, so all of that stuff is paid. Why I like paid personally, and this is not going to be for most people, but why I like paid is you click a button, you get a lead. So my team goes on about 120 face-to-face seller appointments a week as of the date of this recording. We go into their living rooms, we assess their situation. All of my calls to action from a mailer, TV, Facebook, Google is always, hey, if you want an easy way to sell your house, click here, fill out the form, we'll contact you, we'll set an appointment. All of this stuff, the paid stuff works amazingly well. The biggest negative of paid, and I told you all the positives of paid, the negatives of paid is it's paid. It costs us somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 to get a great deal. So if we make $60,000 on a flip or whatever we make on a buy and hold rental, it's costing us money to get that. Now, we're net positive. So if we were going to buy a flip on the MLS for $350, we're paying $15,000 in marketing to get it for say $280. So there's a delta there where we're positive. Now, the thing I would say on the paid is that what kind of a misconception is on the paid is that there's kind of like cheap ways to spend money on marketing to get big results. And in the off-market business, there really isn't. One of the reasons is because you're competing with somebody like me. Like if you send out 10 mailers a month, I'm sending out 200,000. So I don't want to discourage anybody from paid, but I also want to just be cognizant of the fact that most people aren't going to spend 10, 15, $20,000 a month on marketing. If you are, send me a DM and I can talk to you more. If you're not, then you should do some of the free stuff that I talked about. Question I got asked, do we have to pay our office a percentage of off-market deals? That is a question that you would definitely have to ask the office that you're at. My guess is if you ask them, they're going to say yes, because it's a transaction. They probably need to have compliance, etc. Lou said, are you partnering with people in other states? Lou, it depends on the state. We are currently doing deals in Mass, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. Now, finding somebody to partner, I could find you somebody to partner on a deal with in probably an hour. I don't care what state you're in. This is not hard. The mastermind groups that I've been in the past, as long as you're in a major metro market, I could probably refer you to somebody. Don't let that stop you from doing your marketing and getting out and generating appointments. The first step is to start generating appointments. So you don't need to go to step 2 unless you've actually gotten an appointment. And I will make you a promise right now that if you get an appointment, I will find somebody that will be willing to take it and work with you on that deal. But Lou, even if you don't partner with somebody, you can wholesale or assign a contract. So even if they don't partner, I can definitely find an investor if you have a great deal. And this is such a fundamental thing that again, it's like mind shifting. You need to get this through your head. If you have a great deal, you're going to make money on it. If you have a bad deal, you have a deal on the MLS, you have a property that should be selling for 300 on the MLS, you have it under contract for 295, you don't have a deal. You got nothing. So you've got to have great deals for sure. So if you have questions on paid, let me know. Mindset of off-market opportunities. You need to have your eyes open as an investor. You need to be aware on a day-to-day basis that you are an investor, which is why I pitch hard. Join my brokerage, be in the inner circle, get around other people that are doing this. If you aren't around other people that are doing this, you're going to forget that you're an investor, literally. Get around other investors, right? There's paid programs you can be in. There's so much stuff that you can be in, but get around other people that are doing it. And you and your clients both need to think about yourself as an investor. Yes, you're an agent, but you're also an investor. That's a good thing. That's not a negative. All you who are out there who are agents, you need to invest. I'm going to tell you why. A lot of successful agents are looking for like, what's the next kind of like step up in my career? Depending on what market you're in, if you start selling 10, 15, 20, 30 houses a year, you're making really good money and you start to get the mindset of like, what's next? What I see pitched as what's next for most agents is totally wrong. It's one of the biggest, I don't want to call it a scam, but it's borderline, which is that you should build a team. Okay. I'm not going to name names on the coaching programs that really promote that like agents need to build teams. I have grown teams, a real estate agent team. I've also witnessed hundreds of people try to build teams and fail. It isn't that you can't build a team. It is that most real estate teams fail. And there's many reasons for that. But if you've been in real estate long enough, I want you, if you are thinking about building a team because you think that's the next level up in your career, I want you to think about the people that you know that have done it and how many have succeeded and how many have failed. And then I also want you to do a side by side comparison of how many people have invested in real estate that you know and how many of those people have succeeded. By the way, I'm going to disclose something that I probably shouldn't, but way back when I was building a real estate team, this is a while ago, I was in a coaching program because I thought to myself, that's the next level up for me. I'm a successful agent. I need to build a team. So I hired a coach. And I said to the coach, who had a really big team, they had like 50 people. And I said, if I do everything perfect and I get to your level, what will I make? It's a question I wish I had asked a long time ago. And they said $500,000. I said, wait a second. I made that just investing and putting in like a couple hours a week. So you're telling me if I recruit 50 agents and I manage 50 agents and I buy leads and I do all these other things, I'm going to make, and I'm not discounting $500,000. Like if I do it perfect and you're one of the top in the country. So investing is much more scalable. Investing is much easier. Agents need to invest because at some point in your career, you're not going to want to have to drop everything for your clients. And I remember when I first started, like I loved the idea of like, hey, my client calls me, my client needs me. At some point, you don't want to do that. Investing also provides a base of income. So every year when I wake up on January 1st, I have enough money coming in from my portfolio that I own that I could live if I just, wanted to hang out, which I don't, but I could just, sit, right? So with all this stuff, most important thing than anything else is I would say to you guys is you absolutely have to take action on this stuff. And I hear this all the time. So many, I don't want to call them excuses because I don't think that's the right word for it, frankly. Because excuses kind of the terminology excuses kind of brings up like somebody being lazy. I don't think that that's right. I don't think that when most people give me the reasons they're not going to invest yet, they're lazy. I think they're more uneducated and not open-minded. I did a post last night on my personal Facebook page about being open-minded to ideas. I said, not every idea is going to be a good idea, but you really have to be open-minded to make sure that you don't miss the ideas that can change your life. Investing can and will change your life if you commit to it. So you've got to take action, and there's no reason, there's no legitimate reason why you have to wait now. And I told you all the ways you don't need money. You don't need a lot of things to get started. In fact, you need nothing. You need to get educated. You need to get around other people that are doing it, which is why I created the inner circle. So I'm going to briefly go over the inner circle and how you guys can learn more about the inner circle if you're interested. So I've done a bunch of different coaching throughout the years, paid coaching, and there's a lot of things I learned from doing it. The biggest thing that I want to be able to provide to people, the coaching I used to do, believe it or not, I used to charge $60,000 per year for 12 months. And I used to meet with the people once per month. That was like the deal that I had. And there was all other things, a lot of other things that were included in the package, but one of them was only a meeting once a month, which to me was not effective. Now, I like to work with people that are motivating and driven. And if somebody's motivating and driven, they're going to have way more questions than once a month. And I've helped a lot of agents become successful investors. And the ones that I've helped, we chat at least once every few days because there's always something that comes up. There's always a question. There's always a scenario. There's always something to discuss. And one other thing I didn't like about doing the high paid, high ticket sales is just taking a bunch of money from somebody and then having them not do anything. So what I've created is a mechanism that works for me that I know I can deliver on to get around, my inner circle. And it's also something that should work for anybody who's motivated because it's not going to take a whole bunch of money to get into the inner circle. So the benefits of the inner circle, number one, are 24/7, 365 access to me through Facebook Messenger and email. One thing I've learned about myself that I've kind of known for a while, but it's just a fact. I am not a telephone or in-person meeting type of person. Um, I don't like my day being broken up. Hey, like let's meet like 11 Tuesday at 11 at the coffee shop, and it becomes like a 3-hour ordeal. I don't think it's effective for me, and I don't like actually keeping specific time meetings because I don't think those are effective either. Either you need help right now or you don't. And having a meeting like a month into the future, I don't know if you'll need help. Maybe you need help tomorrow, or maybe you don't need any help and we're meeting for no reason. So I like to do Facebook Messenger and email. Anybody who is already in my inner circle knows you send me a Facebook message, you're getting a response typically within an hour. As long as like I'm not in an area with no service, you're getting a message back. And I'm sure I can see people on the line that know this, that are either in the inner circle or have dealt with me in the past. 24/7, 365 access. Why that's important is because if you need a question in the moment answered, you're going to get it. We're going to do a once a month group meeting on Zoom. Okay, and that's where everybody who's in the inner circle gets an opportunity to ask their specific scenario questions. Now you can do it on like a Facebook Messenger like this, but this is more like, okay, I'm a talking head. I'm driving the conversation. If something pops up, you ask it. The once a month is going to be where people are actually on it, and we're looking face to face because you're on a Zoom and we're going over your specific situation. You get permanent free access to our quarterly meetings. The next one we have coming up, we talked about November 3rd, November 4th, 2022. It's going to be free for life. And you also get the ability to come to the dinner for life, which is free. Access to over 100 videos I've already created. As you guys can see, like we're almost on for an hour. I could keep going. There's so much information to know. And I want to be able to deliver it to you in the 100 videos I've already created And I don't want to just give you 100 videos. This is where like the actual conversations that we have matter. Like you send me a Facebook message and you say, "Oh, there's 100 videos. Should I watch them all?" Maybe at some point, but not today. So we've got to figure out through Facebook Messenger, through email, like what are you trying to achieve? What are your goals? How can we help you? And then what video might you need to watch? You also get access to any of our off-market deals that we're assigning or wholesaling. And you get the ability, if you have capital and want to invest in our apartment deals, you have the first shot at investing in those apartment deals. Okay. There's going to be more benefits to be named later, but that's what we've got right now. For those of you who are interested in learning more about the inner circle, you can go to www.agentinvestorinnercircle.com. And I'll reach out to you directly. You just put a day and time on my calendar, and we'll talk for 10 or 15 minutes to talk about whether or not like we can help you. Um, I want to believe I can help almost everybody, but some people their situation isn't right, or I might not be a good fit for them. So we'll spend 10 or 15 minutes going over that, and we'll talk about your goals and things like that, just to make sure that we can help. And again, that's www.agentinvestorinnercircle.com. God asked a really good question. How would you prepare for the meeting? The number one thing that you can really do to prepare for the meeting is think about where you're at right now, get a full assessment of your situation, and then where do you want to be 10 years from now? And that might sound easy, but it's not easy at all. Where do you want to be? How many hours do you want to be working? What's your income like? What are you doing? What types of deals are you interested in? Some of you won't be able to answer that question, which is totally okay. But the better you can answer that question, the more I can figure out whether or not I can help you or provide you with some free strategies on what to do too. So Marquina said, "Can you suggest a book?" Oh man, I wish Agent Investor was out. 6 more months, my book will be released. Agent Investor, that would be the book I would recommend. And I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. It's probably going to be the most relevant. In terms of reading books and listening to podcasts and stuff, I need to know where you're at to make a recommendation. I will never make a blanket recommendation, book or audio or podcast reference a recommendation without knowing your situation. Because when I look at books and events and teaching, you need to figure out like what you're missing. This is where the inner circle comes in. What are the things that are missing right now from you, and where do you get that information? Where do you get those skills? So every book isn't created equal. There's books that are air quotations good books that may not help you at all get from point A to point B. And Danielle said, "You've got to ditch the limiting beliefs." Yeah, I mean, listen, it's tough for me because I know that most of you who are listening right now, most of you know how much success I've had. And I almost say that with hesitation because I don't want to sound arrogant. But what you all don't know is it took me 4 years to do my first investment deal. I grew up completely poor. I had no resources. I didn't know if I could do this. I struggled with limiting beliefs. Um, and the best thing that I can say about limiting beliefs is it's important to get around other people who are doing this. And at my last 2-day event, I talked about like the 5 people that you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. And I said to the audience, kind of as a joke, but kind of serious, and I said, what would happen if like I was one of your best friends and every day we talked and every day you told me that it was impossible to invest or that you needed money to invest? Like, what do you think I would say to you? And how long could you have that same conversation with me and see me doing it without money before you just realized that it was possible? You know? And imagine if 5 people you were around were like that. Now, like, just like everything else, like when I was little and I wanted to fit in at a school, you kind of, you do stuff that your friends are doing. It's the same thing. Like you're not going to, if you're around other people who are investing, you don't want to be the only person who's not, right? And you definitely aren't going to keep telling the people like, "Hey, your life is a lie," basically, right? Like see you investing with no money, but yet I'm going to tell you that it can't be done. Like you won't do it because you're going to see it. And it's like everything else. Like for those of you who have kids, it's like how many times has your kid, had, a belief like that, and then they see you do it or whatever, riding a bike, simple things, all of a sudden, and then once you do it, it's easy. Prue said, Mike Prue, correct. Tom has always been available for me, and I always will be. And I love real estate. I love talking about real estate. And Marquina said, for beginners to learn terminology to speak to sellers. Well, I guess speak to sellers about what? I don't know. I'm not sure I necessarily know how to answer that question. So we still get a lot of people that are live right now. Can you do me a favor and let me know what other questions that you guys have? I have a couple more things that I want to go over. I want to just tell you guys that in the Facebook group, I know I've been growing it out and adding people like really rapidly and everything. One thing I would love for all of you to do, and I know this is not your job to do it, but any like participation you guys can have throughout the week is helpful. And I don't mean just to like participate, but what questions do you have? How can we help you? What topics would you like covered? What scenarios do you have? As of right now, it's a lot of like me posting and not knowing if the information is received or if it's relevant. Like I want to make sure that that group is relevant to everybody who's in it. I don't want it to be what I think is important. I do have enough knowledge to say, okay, this is probably important, but I also want it to be about the people that are in the group. Okay. So, how can you guys help us? Obviously, we're providing a lot of content right now for free, and I'm going to continue to provide it for free. But I am going to tell you guys how you can help us so that I can continue to provide this for free. One thing you can do is if you have an off market deal that you come across and you need an investor, come to us. We will buy anything, any condition, anywhere in New England for right now, and Jacksonville, Florida. But the second thing that you can do is if you have people that are interested in passively investing, we do have apartment deals that we raise capital for, and we are definitely interested in helping people to grow their capital, preserve and grow their capital, especially in an inflationary environment. So if you know anybody that would be interested in investing in a bigger building like that, we can talk. And if you come across anything that can either be developed into apartments or bought that's currently apartments. We're working on a few deals now. We're almost done with our ground up new construction in Wakefield, 19 units that those of you who came to the last 2-day event saw. We've got a 100 unit in Millis, Mass, and we're working on a couple other 60 unit projects right now that are currently in the works that aren't under agreement. But that's the type of stuff we're looking for. And join and sign up now for the 2-day event we're having in November and bring a friend. You can do that at www.agentinvestorevent.com. Keep in mind, every friend that attends that's never attended an event before, you get entered in to a drawing for an all-inclusive trip to Aruba in November. And if you can, make it live. Come to these live streams every Tuesday at 11. I've got my calendar blocked off to do this, and let us know what topics make the most sense for you guys. Anybody that you can add into the Agent Investor group helps us greatly. We've got, I think, 3,600 members as of today. We've got 2 million real estate agents across the country. So only a small fraction of the 2 million total agents are in the group. Anything that you can do to add more agents into the group, invite them. As you can see from the group, like we're not selling or pitching things, so we're making it value only. And that's how you can help us. And we'll be back next Tuesday at 11. But I did get some questions that came in, which is awesome. Best tips for getting investors. We covered that, Christina, in the prior live stream last week. And I would point you to that because that is a whole hour long topic that I don't want to gloss over right now because it is that important. Deb, are you interested in a tear down property? Yes, please send me the details on Facebook Messenger. I know we've connected there before. Kathy, how does the conversation go in front of a seller when you're trying to determine whether to buy it as an investor or an agent? Well, that's a good one. And that's an easy one. So I'll do my 60-second elevator pitch when I'm out on an appointment. So I would tell the seller, first of all, you want to be transparent and clear to the seller about what it is you're out there to do. You're out there to help them sell their house in a way that makes sense for them. And you have two solutions. Solution number one is the traditional way, where we're gonna try to get the property show ready. We're gonna try to get as much exposure to the house as we can. We're gonna promote it through the traditional means, an open house, showings, whatever. And we're gonna sell it to a traditional buyer who is gonna pay you. A traditional buyer, if you get your house show ready, priced right, is always going to pay you the most amount of money for your house. Now, there are some negatives to a traditional buyer, and we're already seeing that in the market that we're in right now. Sometimes people are losing their financing. Sometimes the appraisal comes in low. Sometimes buyers just get cold feet and back out. Sometimes they lose their jobs. And you do, to get top dollar, need to get your house somewhat show ready. You need to have open houses. You need to clear your schedule and get people in. Now, all the benefits of that, all the negatives that I just mentioned, the benefit is you're going to get the most amount of money. Now, I also have another solution that will get you typically less money. You'll net less money. You won't have to pay an agent commission. You don't have to clean anything out of your house. You don't need to do any upgrades to your house. You don't need to have an inspection on your property. You can close in your time frame, whether that's a week, 2 weeks, or 2 years. Now, the cost of that is that you're going to get a little bit less money. And here's the number for the retail, and here's the number for the cash. And based on the entire conversation that we had today, it sounds like, this might be an option or that might be an option. Seth, what are you finding your most effective methods for generating seller leads? I like paid, but if you're an agent that, isn't paying for stuff, or doesn't want to pay, I would do all the unpaid stuff. And I talked about that earlier in the show today. Cody, what if we can't attend the event but can get some friends to attend? If you can get the friends to attend that have never attended the event before, you would still qualify for the July. I'm sorry, for the Aruba trip. Sherry, can we share the post on Agent Investor? Yes, you can. Do our friends need to be agents? If you can clarify that question. Oh, yes, they need to be agents. Yes. Jay, how are you adjusting your ARVs on fix and flip in this current market? Example, ARV minus 5%. So we are just using conservative ARVs, after repair values, where we're not being aggressive. We are looking and saying, we believe that this is going to be the value. This is conservative, and we're doing mainly quicker flips that are 3 months, 4 months and under, so that we can preserve, if there is a drop in the market, the drop. All right, guys, it looks like we're out of questions. If there are any more, type into the comment section after this live video is over. I'm happy to answer anything. I hope to see you all next Tuesday at 11. I will be announcing the topic after I talk to more of you. If you do want to learn more about the inner circle, again, go to, let's see, what is the URL for that? Before I forget, I think it's www.agentinvestorinnercircle.com. And I know every time I do one of these, I'll be talking to at least a few of you guys. But thank you for jumping on. And again, take action, guys. Please take action, even if it's a small step. And share all of this information, the podcast, the group, everything else. All right. Thank you again. Bye.
Thanks again for listening to the Agent Investor Podcast. And especially thank you for sharing the show with other agents and reviewing the show on iTunes. Every time you share the show and leave a review, you are potentially changing someone's life. To get free weekly education, strategies, and to connect with other agent investors across the country, join our free Facebook group at agentinvestor.com. Again, that's agentinvestor.com.